The Clown Show Live. The Clown Show Live. Hey, why does Moss from the MMA-holes, why does Moss from the MMA-holes cry when he watches movies, ladies and gentlemen? Why does Moss cry when he watches movies, ladies and gentlemen? And his wife is right there watching the same movie with him, and she doesn't cry. How come Moss's wife is not crying? And Moss is crying. He got tears running down his face when he's watching Pinocchio. The big tough guy, Moss from the Gummy Gang. Crying. Watching Pinocchio, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, who's crying watching Pinocchio, ladies and gentlemen? Ha 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 ha! Moss from the Gummy Gang. Crying. Ladies and gentlemen. Ha ha ha. Howard Johnson has a new soap out, ladies and gentlemen. Have you heard? Howard Johnson has a new soap out, ladies and gentlemen. It's called Fried Clam Soap, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, that's a Gummy Gang thing if you ever heard of it. You know what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen? Yeah. Howard Johnson, Fried Clam Soap. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, Simon FECK sucks balls, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Simon FECK sucks balls. Just remember that, people. Simon FECK sucks balls. By the way, what size underwear does the MMA Guru wear, ladies and gentlemen? What size underwear does the MMA Guru wear, ladies and gentlemen? What do we got in here? That's why I said it right there. Nobody tells the clown. Nobody, and I mean nobody tells the clown what to do. Especially the MMA Guru. The MMA Guru. I'm not letting you in. I'm not letting you in, MMA Guru. You don't tell the clown what to do. Telling me that you're going to let you in to come in on the stream. Nobody tells the clown what to do. I'm just a shitty clown. I'm a shitty clown from Arkansas, ladies and gentlemen. From Little Cock, Arkansas, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Arkansas is like the poop stain. You know, like the poop stain in your underwear? Arkansas is like the poop stain of America. You know, if you look at America, and then you look at the middle, Arkansas's there. Arkansas is like the poop stain in your underwear, ladies and gentlemen. Every square inch of Arkansas is like a big poop stain. That's why I like living there. Yeah. Because I'm a clown and I live with my parents on property. I live on property. That's what we say. You know, out here at my parents' house, we live on property. That's right. And then we go into town. That's right. And Giuliano Argenti is never coming on my show again until he does. And Terzi's not coming on the show either until he does. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Whoa! That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight the clown's putting in free super chats, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, free super chats. How do we lose somebody? We were like too high, ladies and gentlemen. Too high. We lost somebody, ladies and gentlemen. Free super chats tonight. Now listen here. The Clown, I have a betting game on the MMA. It's called the Mecca. And then Simon Feck. Simon Feck has to go, and he has the Fecka. Simon Feck started the Fecka. I hate Simon Feck. Simon Feck sucks balls. I've had the Mecca for 8 years. 8 years. And then Simon Feck has to go and start the Fecka. Simon Feck doesn't have any subscribers anyways. And neither do I, ladies and gentlemen. Why is this stream lagging, ladies and gentlemen? Huh? It's ridiculous, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone's worst nightmare. Everyone's worst nightmare. Ladies and gentlemen, what is this? What is this? Do we have Simon Feck fans in here at my show, the ClownShowLive? Comment in my chat saying, ladies and gentlemen. It's ridiculous. Everyone's nightmare. Worst nightmare. When Laura Sanko and Nita Drama rolled, who won, ladies and gentlemen? Who won? Does anybody remember? We got another one saying, ladies and gentlemen. What is this? This isn't the Simon Feck Show. This is the Clown Show. And I'm lost without Argentini, Giuliani, whatever his name is. Like fucking, you know, bro, like fucking, you know. It's ridiculous. Here's Jill. Jill. Isn't Jill a fan of the Simon Feck Show? Huh? Coming in here trolling. Jill's coming in here trolling. You will need these tools for tonight's broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what kind of tools Jill's providing, ladies and gentlemen. Some popcorn, some wine. The clown can't see that first one there. Here's Jill again. It's got to be a Simon Feck fan, right? My favorite clown, there he is. There's 314. Okay. Haven't seen you in a while. Haven't seen you in a while there. My favorite clown. Yeah. That's right. Hey, who is the MMA Guru's cousin in the UFC? Does anybody know? And it's not Oben Elliott. It's not Tom Aspinall either. Does anybody know who MMA Guru's cousin is in the UFC? Any takers? It's Mick Parkin, ladies and gentlemen. The big fat turd. That's who MMA Guru's cousin is. Here's 314 again. What's up? Your camera is lagging. I know it. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I don't know. I keep going over this stuff. I keep practicing it. And then Giuliano Argenti keeps coming in here and ruining everything, ladies and gentlemen. He'll never come on the show again until he does. Yeah, I don't know what to do, 314, except for stop it. Ladies and gentlemen, Kainotto, you know that guy Moyes over there at the Gummy Gang, that guy Moyes, he calls Kainotto, he calls him Kainotto. That Moss cries. When Moss watches movies, he cries. And his wife doesn't cry. She's right there watching the same movie. Like, Moss cried watching Pinocchio. Big tough guy. That's right. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the clown. I'm the clown, and I live in the big poop state in the United States, in Arkansas. It's like that big poop state. You look at the map of the United States, it's like your underwear, you know, where the poop stain's in the middle? Arkansas is that big poop stain in the middle of the United States, ladies and gentlemen. That's where I live, the clown. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Now, why? Why does my stream lag? You know why? Because I live in Poopville, Arkansas. Some people call it Little Cock, Arkansas. I live in the shit stain of America. That's why the internet connection sucks balls. Like Simon FECK, ladies and gentlemen. Who's the best glove toucher? Who's the best glove toucher in the UFC, ladies and gentlemen? It's Gene Silva, ladies and gentlemen. Simon FECK looking like Howard Stern shaved ice. Damn. That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. But I'm the clown. I'm the clown. That's right. And guess what? The MMA RIGO, ladies and gentlemen. I hate MMA RIGO. I hate MMA JOEY. I hate Giuliano Argenti. I hate Bodach. I hate MMA Guru. I hate Brandon K. Brandon K came in my stream the other day, and Simon FECK got blamed for it. Brandon K. I hate needed drama. Because I'm the clown from Little Cock, Arkansas. Unbelievable. What a crap stream, ladies and gentlemen. Clown Bird, ladies and gentlemen, from Jill, ladies and gentlemen. Kainotto also says, remember Yuko the Clown? Yeah, Yuko the Clown. Beep, beep, beep. Yep. On the Howard Stern show, that's right. Yuko the Clown's got nothing. Yuko the Clown's got nothing on this clown right here from Arkansas. From Little Cock, Arkansas. Yuko. Yuko never washed his clothes, ladies and gentlemen. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Guess what? This was a practice run, ladies and gentlemen. And guess what? It went like shit, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, Moss from the Gummy Gang, ladies and gentlemen, cries when he watches movies, ladies and gentlemen. He was watching Pinocchio. Moss was watching Pinocchio and he was crying in front of his wife, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. That's right. I'm the clown, ladies and gentlemen. We went into Gummy Gang. We went into Gummy Gang and we were in there and we were typing words, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Moss wasn't crying that night because, it wasn't Pinocchio. Moss crying at movies. Crying at Pinocchio. The Gummy Gang, Moss. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Stern used to have a drunk dwarf on there. Yeah, Hank. That was Hank. Hank, the drunken dwarf. That's right. The Howard Stern Show had Hank, the drunken dwarf, ladies and gentlemen. He had nothing on me, the clown from Arkansas, from Little Cock, Arkansas. Jill, Stern used to have a drunk dwarf on there. That's right. 314, understandable. What did we miss? Is it true that Conor versus Chandler at the White is confirmed? Oh, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I'm just a stupid clown, ladies and gentlemen. But guess what? Conor can't make any commitment, okay? He shows up at the BKFC presser late, and all he's got to do is show up. He doesn't even have to talk. Conor ain't gonna fight nobody. Conor ain't gonna fight nobody. But guess what? Let's pretend that it's on. Because we waited for Conor, I don't know how many times. 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 times. I don't know, buddy. I don't know. What do we got? Jill. This is indeed, if you say you type words, you must come work for us. Listen, I'm a clown from Arkansas. I'm 58 years old, okay? Because I sing songs from 1985 and 86 and 87. That makes me 56, 58 years old, ladies and gentlemen. I live on property. I live on my parents' property in Shittsville, Arkansas, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? I'm not typing words for anybody. I don't need a job because my parents pay for me. Because I'm just a shitty clown from shitty Arkansas. Someone tell Conor. That stuff's moving around here, ladies and gentlemen. Someone tell Conor it ain't that kind of Whitehouse. Yo, Moss's guy, Kainotto, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, he says it's not that kind of Whitehouse, ladies and gentlemen. I thought he was committed to coke. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, the only commitment that Connor's not committing to no Chandler-Conor fight, ladies and gentlemen, at the UFC Whitehouse. The only commitment Conor has is to coke, ladies and gentlemen, says Jill in the chat. The #1 fan of the Simon FECK Show. Well, this ain't the Simon FECK Show. You hear me? Whoa! Simon FECK sucks balls. Jill says, ladies and gentlemen. Jill. Kainotto says the only commitment Conor makes is to 5'2", 600-pound women, ladies and gentlemen. Well, listen here. I'm a clown, right? That lives with my parents in Little Cock, Arkansas. And that's all you can find is 5'2", 600-pound women, ladies and gentlemen. And in Arkansas, listen to me. In Arkansas, if you're a clown and you live in Arkansas with your parents, you're definitely gonna take advantage of the 5'2", 600-pound women, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. As a matter of fact, that's a hot one. That's a hot one in Little Cock, Arkansas, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? They call it Little Cock for a reason, ladies and gentlemen. Because you got 5'2", 600-pound women going after Little Cock Arkians. Huh? 600 pounds? Hey, I mean, Kainotto has it. He kind of has it, right? They're like 800 pounds, okay? 600 pounds is a beauty, ladies and gentlemen, in Little Cock, Arkansas. Because I'm the clown. That's right. That lives with my parents, and I'm 58 years old. And my sidekick is from New Zealand, and his name is Cam Hassel, ladies and gentlemen. I kicked Giuliano Argenti out. I kicked Argenti, or whatever his stupid name is. I kicked him out, and he won't be back until he does, ladies and gentlemen. Conor loves them beefy chicks. That's right. Conor loves them beefy chicks, says Kainotto, ladies and gentlemen. But Moss, the Mystic Moss, calls him Kainotto or some stupid stuff. But Moss cries when he watches Pinocchio. It's crazy. Little Cock, Arkansas, ladies and gentlemen, says Jill. Oh, man. I forgot to put these things up there. Jill says Little Cock, Arkansas. Well, listen. I'm the clown here, and this is my show. And stop coming in here and trolling. You hear me, Jill? Because I'm the clown from Little Cock, Arkansas. I mean, just because I'm the clown from Little Cock, Arkansas, you don't have to go around telling people. You hear me? Sorry, I forgot to put this stuff up. You know why? Because I'm a stupid clown from Little Cock, Arkansas that lives with my parents. And I live on property. Well, my parents' property. Clown, how will you ever get a woman like... Oh my God, I'm supposed to read this stuff? Living in Arkansas. Lipsky. That's right. You can't. You can't. But the clown, you just can't go walking around looking like this. You know? Because the women are they'll be attracted to me. Like a magnet, you know? I wish I didn't live in Arkansas, but if I walk outside like this, the 5'2", 600-pound women will be all over me. And that'll be the end of the clown, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to move where Lipsky is, ladies and gentlemen. But I'm just a clown from Little Cock, Arkansas with a little cock. And Simon FECK sucks balls. Did I miss anything, ladies and gentlemen? Plenty of exotic birds of Brazil. She will love you. Listen here. Not me, not the clown from Little Cock, Arkansas, but stupid Simon FECK. That Simon FECK, it sucks balls. Simon FECK has been to Brazil. Simon FECK knows where the women are, ladies and gentlemen. That's from Jill, ladies and gentlemen. We're supposed to be putting these up there, ladies and gentlemen. What I'd like to have right now is for all of those 5'2", 600-pound sweat hogs shut up so they can see what the real man looks like. Says Kainotto. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen. Why? See, the clown is so stupid. The clown doesn't put these up there. Why doesn't the clown put these up there when he's reading them, ladies and gentlemen? Kainotto says, what I'd like to have right now is for all those 5'2", 600-pound sweat hogs to shut up so they can all see what the real man looks like, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. What do we got here? We got Jill coming in, ladies and gentlemen. Her husband, the Silva, will not love you, though. Listen, even though I'm a stupid clown from Little Cock, Arkansas, I don't need her man to love me, okay? I mean, you know, I'm a straight clown, you know? I mean, I might have all the colors of the rainbow, but, you know, I'm a straight clown with a shit stain in my underwear, living in a shit-stained state. Oh, the clown was called Yuko, right? Yuko, or did we already go through that? Yuko, right? Yuko. Why stuck at 5'2", though? Why stuck at 5'2", though? Well, listen, because you don't... Us clowns in Arkansas, we don't put any women on a pedestal. If you put them on a pedestal, they're going to be, like, taller than 5'2". So we don't. That's what us clowns do in Little Cock, Arkansas. And let me tell you something. I got to tell you something personal here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a little cock, a little clown cock from Little Cock, Arkansas, and I really miss Giuliano Argenti. I miss the little guy. They're like 6'4", bird looking. I mean, Giuliani's nose is bigger than my nose. Giuliani's got a bird beak. Kainotto says, that's Rick Rude line. Classic. Now we got Jill saying, Hank the drunk dwarf, Yucko, Beetlejuice. Cause it's Beetle. And I'm bad as can, cause I'm Beetle. That's right. And Jill, ladies and gentlemen, I might be a stupid clown from Arkansas, but Jill likes Slayer, ladies and gentlemen. Why am I saying ladies and gentlemen? That's stupid Simon FECK shit, ladies and gentlemen. Kainotto, who, me? Who? What is this, like? Is it because I look like a bird? Kainotto's coming in with who, me? Like, who? Okay, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just a shitty clown from shitty Arkansas, ladies and gentlemen. I need a drama. needed drama. That hot bitch with the hot feet, ladies and gentlemen. Give me a call, needed drama. Needed drama, call the clown from Little Cock, Arkansas. There's Jill. Ladies and gentlemen, see, this clown right here, the clown from Little Cock, Arkansas, I could do, ladies and gentlemen, better than Simon Feck. Simon Feck sucks balls, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yeah, Beetlejuice. Yeah. Who, me? And he does that little giggle. Who, me? That's right. I got it. Kainotto says. Kainotto. Because even though I'm just a little cock from Arkansas, from Little Cock, Arkansas, a clown from Little Cock, Arkansas, I know how to pronounce Kainotto's name, ladies and gentlemen. That Moy's over there at the Gummy Gang doesn't know how to pronounce Kainotto's name correctly. Dead Skin Mask by Slayer. Why? I'm hitting on this stuff. Why isn't it coming up? Jill says, Dead Skin Mask by Slayer, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah! Slayer, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah! Check it out. The clown finally caught up with all the super chats. Tonight, the super chats are free, ladies and gentlemen. Now, here's the problem. The clown came on with no material. Usually, Simon Feck comes with material, ladies and gentlemen. And guess what? This clown has no material. Okay? I was just coming on here testing Simon Feck's shit studio out. And I still can't get over the fact that Moss from the MMA-holes cries when he watches the Pinocchio movie, ladies and gentlemen. Why does Moss cry when he watches the Pinocchio movie, ladies and gentlemen? And he has his wife right by his side. She's not crying. The MMA Guru and his boyfriend, Robert Whitaker, they watch Pinocchio and they don't cry. We got Jill. Dance with the dead in my dreams. Listen to the hollowed screams. Yeah! Yeah! That makes me want to go out. Well, I can't say it, ladies and gentlemen. I can't say it. Yeah. Sounds like a horror movie, ladies and gentlemen. Slayer, ladies and gentlemen. Says Jill. He cries because he beta. Jill says he cries because he beta. Why does Moss cry when he's watching Pinocchio, ladies and gentlemen? Okay? When I see Pinocchio, I see a guy with a big nose. Okay? It reminds me of me. I was born with this beak, ladies and gentlemen. I was born with this beak. Okay? And when I see Pinocchio, I don't cry like Moss does from the MMA-holes, ladies and gentlemen. And his wife doesn't cry. Now, why is Moss crying when he watches Pinocchio, ladies and gentlemen? The clown here, I'm not crying when I'm watching Pinocchio. Because I have a big beak too, ladies and gentlemen, big nose. I'm just a clown from Little Cock, Arkansas. And my best friend, Giuliano Argenti, left me. Now I gotta go around with Cam Hassel and Vinny the Guinea and Hank and Terzi and Anakin. I really miss my little buddy Giuliani's family. They changed their name from Falco to Fulco because the Falco name is related to the son of Sam. Yeah, David Berkowitz, that's right. Giuliani's family is hiding that they are family of the son of Sam, ladies and gentlemen. And Giuliano Argenti does not have a McLaurin, ladies and gentlemen. He's got a ceiling fan with 2 blades, and it's missing 2 blades. Nobody that has a McLaurin, ladies and gentlemen, has a ceiling fan with 2 blades and missing 2 blades and walks to 7-Eleven. He has a McLaurin and he's walking to 7-Eleven, ladies and gentlemen. Doesn't make a bit of sense. Giuliano Argenti has a McLaurin and he stays at Hampton Inns, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't make a bit of sense. Jill says, beats, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, the clown here, ladies and gentlemen. The clown from Little Cock, Arkansas. Let me tell you something about Brandon K. Brandon K came in my stream the other night, making all kinds of stupid noises and everything. And Giuliani was saying that the person was immature, making all kinds of noises on my stream. And saying that the guy's a baby. And he was saying it was Simon FECK. Stupid Brandon K. Saying that, he's immature and it's stupid and it's, and the gimmicks is stupid and everything. Brandon K. But then the next day, Brandon K says, hey, Giuliani, they went on a stream together. And then Brandon K said it was him. But it's okay if Brandon K does it. But if Simon FECK does it, oh, it's no good, it's no good. But Brandon K can do it. And then let me tell you something before we get back to the chat. Moss from the MMA-holes. Giuliani went ahead on a stream the other day and then admitted that fuck you 69 guy was indeed the clown. And that the clown was going around, not this clown, ladies and gentlemen. And the clown was going around and he took 2 videos down all by himself, ladies and gentlemen. That is a message to Moss, ladies and gentlemen. What do we got here? Pull the fan out then. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen. We got 7 high, ladies and gentlemen. We also got Needed Drama, ladies and gentlemen. We got Needed Drama. And we got the Needed Drama showerhead, ladies and gentlemen. Yo. Needed Drama. You looking good, Needed Drama. Needed Drama, you looking real good, Needed Drama. Yeah. I love your feet there, Needed Drama. This is the Needed Drama talking showerhead. Needed Drama, you's looking good, Needed Drama. And them feet, oh, I love them feet. You need to stick them feet in my mouth. You hear me, Needed Drama? Needed Drama. I like when you roll with Laura Sanko, Needed Drama. That's some hot shit, ladies and gentlemen. Dana White's trying to make it look, like BJJ, trying to make it sexual, like rolling around. And then when you see 2 guys rolling around, it's like sexual, It doesn't make a bit of sense. Ladies and gentlemen, the hand of truth, ladies and gentlemen. The hand of truth, ladies and gentlemen. Right here. We got 9 high, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? One thing is, Moss from the MMA-holes. Moss, when he watches movies, he cries, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. We got a high, ladies and gentlemen. My buddy Giuliano Argenti doesn't have a McLaurin. I hate to break the news to you. Giuliano Argenti, he walks to 7-Eleven. Yet he owns a McLaurin, ladies and gentlemen. He's got dandruff all over his jacket. He doesn't have an Air Force jacket like this. He doesn't have an Air Force jacket like this. Giuliano Argenti has a $22 1970s sweatsuit jogging outfit stupid jacket. Yet he has a McLaurin, ladies and gentlemen. And he walks to 7-Eleven. He doesn't buy more than one pack of cigarettes at a time. You know why? Because he's broke. He's a broke dick. Giuliano Argenti. The man with all the subs. All the real subs. Giuliano Argenti. And his buddy Brandon K. Hey, do you know that Brandon K tries to strike the Clown's channel every day? What do we got? Anybody else typing? Oh, we got a type of smalls now, yo. Selsun Blue, not pert. Woo! We're talking about stuff back in the day, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Selsun Blue. I haven't heard that since, I don't know, since me, the clown. You know, the clown that's 58 years old. I haven't heard that since 1984, ladies and gentlemen. Selsun Blue. Dana White wants to wash his hair. Dana White wants to wash his hair of DC, ladies and gentlemen. Because DC wants to use shampoo, ladies and gentlemen. DC wants to go to Turkey and get hair plugs, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Here he is. Right here, ladies and gentlemen. Right here. Ladies and gentlemen, Dana White wants to wash his hair of DC because DC wants to use shampoo. And Dana White only hires bald people, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Dana White only hires bald people. And yes, Minty Bets. Yes, Minty Bets is bald, ladies and gentlemen. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. DC wants to get hair plugs, ladies and gentlemen, from Turkey. And that's why Dana White wants to wash his hair of DC, ladies and gentlemen. Yet DC wants, I mean, you know, Jon Anik actually has hair. Jon Anik actually has hair. Jon Anik just shaves his head bald because Dana White only hires bald people, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, you heard it here from the clown from Little Cock, Arkansas, with a little cock. Yeah! Ladies and gentlemen. So who we got lurking out there? Oh, we got our number one fan, ladies and gentlemen. We stole Jill from over there from the Simon FECK show, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the clown, and I got 2,000 subscribers. I used to have 2,000 subscribers, I mean. And now I'm over on Kick. I'm over on Kick because I gave Moss a hard time, ladies and gentlemen. Moss from MMA-holes, ladies and gentlemen. Tab. Yeah, Tab. That was kind of like pink. Jill's bringing up Tab and Fresco. I mean, Tab's been gone a long time, right? Fresco's still around, isn't it? says Jill. Here's Jill. DC is better than every fucking one of them put together. DC is the man. Now listen, Simon Feck, okay? Simon Feck goes in. Simon Feck goes into the Apex. That Simon Feck. That Simon Feck goes into the Apex, and his office is right across the hall from DC. Now, DC is a nice guy, okay? But DC, we don't go into DC's office when he's having interviews. But DC loves to come over to my office and bust in when I'm doing interviews. Have some respect, DC. But make sure you get them hair plugs from Turkey, okay? Because then Dana White's going to release you. Dana White's going to put you... listen to DC. Dana White's going to put you in the time capsule for the UFC Whitehouse that Donald Trump is putting together for the 250th birthday of the United States. And Dana White has to put some stuff in the time capsule. So far, he's going to put Joe Pyfer's cheesesteak jockstrap in the time capsule of Donald Trump's for the UFC Whitehouse. DC is an Olympian. Yes, it's around, says Jill. All right, we got Jill. DC is an Olympian. Yeah, so when DC butted into an interview, Simon Feck. Simon Feck was interviewing. Let's see. What's her name? Paige Van Zandt. Simon Feck was interviewing Paige Van Zandt and her husband, Mrs. Van Zandt. Okay? And when he was just getting into the UFC, I don't know, a year ago, whatever. And then DC storms in our interview. Okay? And then he's going on this big story about how he had to stop, being a fighter in the UFC because he's got a bad back. He never told anybody that, publicly. But he told Simon Feck. And I'm like, that's great and everything. Thanks for busting in the interview here with Paige Van Zandt and Mr. Vanderford. Okay? And then you got to come in and talk about yourself, DC. Why don't you walk across the hall and get back in your office? Simon Feck doesn't come busting in your office. So Jill says, does he fly into the Apex? Simon Feck, that's right. Simon Feck flies into the Apex, ladies and gentlemen. And I mean literally, okay? The guy is so clumsy, he flies right into the Apex, ladies and gentlemen. That's Simon Feck. He's a black crow, ladies and gentlemen. He likes birds, ladies and gentlemen. Simon Feck does. Says Jill. Jill, Simon Feck flies. His dad lost his life flying. That's right. That's right. Now, here's the story, Jill. Why doesn't this stuff come up? Where is it? Jill says Simon Feck flies. His dad lost his life flying. That's right, Jill. So Simon Feck was watching his dad. His dad was flying, just flying down the road. And I mean flying down the road, right? Simon Feck's dad was flying down the road, and then he took a left. And then he got splattered on a windshield, ladies and gentlemen, because he was like flying down the road. Like literally, ladies and gentlemen. And then he took a left, and then the windshield got him, splattered all over the windshield. And then his dad was laying in the middle of the street, and me, the clown from Little Cock, Arkansas, with a little cock, I went over to his dad, and his dad was laying there, and then some other birds came up, like some vultures that came up, and they started pecking on him. And I said, look, Simon FECK'S dad's not dead yet. Why are you picking on him? You know, pecking on him like that. So anyways, we started pulling some feathers off of Simon FECK'S dad when he was still alive, and we made a nice pillow out of it. You know why? Because we're poor. We're from Little Cock, Arkansas, and I live on property, my parents' property, because I'm a little cock from Little Cock, Arkansas, and my name's the Clown. I'm over on Kick, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm missing my friend Giuliano Argenti. What a horrible reminder. Yeah, so Jill, I don't care about Simon FECK. You know why? Because I'm the Clown from Little Cock, Arkansas. I could give a rat's ass about Simon FECK. Simon FECK sucks balls. But Simon FECK doesn't cry when he watches Pinocchio movie. I heard that, you know. Now, how come need a drama? I mean, how did Need a Drama take over Alexa Grasso's feet thing? Okay? I mean, Need a Drama, what else can you take over? Need a Drama went right in and bypassed Simon FECK into Apex. You know why? Because she's hot, that's why. That's the way it is. But Jose Youngs from MMA Fighting on SBN has a hard time about it. A.K.A. Sewer King. Has a real hard time about it. Simon FECK knows what's up. It's because Need a Drama's hot. She's an ex-playmate. And she's got hot feet. Alexa Grasso's feet ain't hot. Need a Drama's feet's hot, ladies and gentlemen. Need a Drama uses 60 grit sandpaper on her feet, ladies and gentlemen, to get them things shined up smooth, ladies and gentlemen. Alexa Grasso, you need to start using 50 grit. If you want to keep up with Need a Drama, start using 50 grit sandpaper on those feet. Now, I mean, Need a Drama rolling around and making the UFC, you know, like two men rolling, you know, doing some ground damage. It's all sexual. Need a Drama's taking everything over, ladies and gentlemen. I thought the UFC was about people fighting. No, it's about Need a Drama's feet. She does have some hot feet, some nice titties. Something the MMA guru doesn't know anything about. Tim Welch asked the MMA guru the other day, hey, are you in the dating game? And the MMA guru says, I mean, the MMA guru is like a 27-year-old virgin, ladies and gentlemen. A millionaire 27-year-old virgin. So Tim Welch asked the MMA guru, are you in the dating pool? And he says, yeah, just the other day, I asked this girl, you know, if she wanted to go out, and she said that she was married. And that was the end of the discussion. That is so stupid. The only thing the MMA guru could come up with is that he asked a woman, and then the woman happened to be married. That explains him being a 27-year-old millionaire that's a virgin. The MMA guru can go and tell you who has the biggest cock and the smallest cock in the UFC like that. At a snap of a talent. Talon. MMA guru in the dating pool. Ridiculous. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, this just could be the worst live stream in MMA history, ladies and gentlemen. Why, ladies and gentlemen, why does Moss cry when he watches the movie Pinocchio, ladies and gentlemen? Why? Why is that? But Joe, is he gay then? Jill wants to know if the MMA guru is gay, ladies and gentlemen. The MMA guru, somebody asked the MMA guru who has the biggest penis in the UFC. And the MMA guru rattled off 9, 10 people. And not only the people that have the biggest penis, he was saying who has the smallest penis. Now, what non-gay guy can rattle off who has the biggest penis and who has the smallest penis? And not only that, a bunch of people with the biggest penises and a bunch of people with the smallest penises, like, bam! But the MMA guru is not gay. No. Tim Welch asked him, are you in the dating pool? Yeah, I asked a girl the other day, and she said that she was married. And that was the end of the story. What straight guy is just going to go around saying he asked one girl in 27 years? In 27 years, the MMA guru asked one girl, yeah, what are you doing tonight? And she said, I'm married. And that was it. So, yeah, the MMA guru is not gay at all. Okay? If you go back on some of his earlier live streams, it's pretty gay, okay? That talk about gay stuff. And then when he hit big, he just gave all that stuff up. But he's not gay, ladies and gentlemen. Then he's talking about moving in with his boyfriend. Me and my boy. But the MMA guru is not gay, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I'll tell you this right now. Simon FECK. And if I haven't said it already, Simon FECK sucks balls. And me, the clown from Little Cock, Arkansas, I want to know what size underwear the MMA guru wears. You know why? Because I'm the gay clown from Little Cock, Arkansas with a little cock. You know how hard it is to be a clown in Arkansas with a little cock from Little Cock, Arkansas? That makes life tough, ladies and gentlemen. And I live on property. And I live on my parents' property. Okay? And I've never had a job in my life. But I'm the clown from Little Cock, Arkansas. And my best friend is Giuliano. But he left my show, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. This stupid stream, let me tell you something. This stupid stream that the clown has no material prepared, ladies and gentlemen. Simon FECK would never do a stream without having stuff prepared. This has been a shitty stream, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you something. Ladies and gentlemen. The clown The Clown is not gay, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yeah, by the way, the MMA Guru's not gay either. He's just, a 27-year-old virgin. A millionaire virgin. What 27-year-old millionaire is going to be a virgin and not have a girl? It doesn't, okay? Think about it, okay? Watch some of the MMA Guru's earlier stuff. Yo, need a drama. This is the Need a Drama talking showerhead. Hey, need a drama. You got some hot looking feet there, need a drama. I can't believe it. I get into the sport of, MMA, right? And then I like the UFC. And it's a bunch of tough people going around fighting each other. And then we got people like MMA RIGO, MMA Guru, Brandon K, Giuliano Argenti, or whatever his stupid name is, MMA JOEY. That's right, MMA JOEY. The list goes on, ladies and gentlemen. I'm hanging out in the Apex, ladies and gentlemen. And I thought it was going to be a bunch of manly people. The MMA world is nothing but a big closet, ladies and gentlemen. It's like the biggest closet in the planet, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for hanging in there, ladies and gentlemen. Jill, you got to come on the show sometime, Jill. Not this show. You got to come on the Simon FECK'S show. And then Jill, you need to go on the Simon FECK'S show and help him out, because Simon FECK'S sucks balls. His show sucks. Hit the link, Jill. Come on the show. You scared of the clown, Jill? All right, Jill. Thanks a lot.